We're going to bring this meeting of the Board of County Commissioners to order. Real quick, so some housekeeping rules. If you have a phone, go ahead and please silence it, because when we have people up here, especially during public comment, any of our presenters and that, it's just rude to have a phone go off and hear your favorite song in the background or whatever it might be. Mine's a motorcycle revving up, but nobody wants to hear that. And I think that's pretty much it this morning. We're going to go ahead and County Manager.
Yes, sir. We're going to start with our invocation and pledge. Our invocation is going to be led by Father Michael Orsi, and our pledge, if our veteran is in the room, is going to be J.R. Restrepo, U.S. Army veteran, attaining the rank of Specialist E4, served from 1988 to 1994 with the 77th Sustainment Brigade at Fort Totten, New York, and with the 24th Mechanicalized Infantry during Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. And I don't believe he's here, but maybe he'll make his way in.
Well, before I begin, I never pass up an opportunity to let you know of one of my concerns. I'm going to ask you a favor.
No, you said do it earlier.
For you, it's an offer you can't refuse. As you know, Friendship House closed in Immokalee, and that's part of your district.
Correct.
I am very concerned about those poor migrants who perhaps have nowhere to go, not just to eat or sleep, but even to shower and wash their clothes. So if you could keep those poor souls in your minds as you go about your duties and concerns about the county, and realize that it's part of our job to take care of the least among us, and they are, and they do need help. So I rely on you and make this part of our prayer. Let us pray. Almighty God, we come before you today with gratitude for the blessings of Collier County, a community of beauty, opportunity, and people who care deeply about their neighbors. We ask for your guidance and wisdom upon our county commissioners, Dan, Rick, Bill, Chris, and Bert. Grant them the courage to make difficult decisions, the humility to listen carefully, and the wisdom to seek what is right and just for all. As Collier County continues to grow, guide our leaders in addressing the challenges of responsible development, transportation, infrastructure, housing, public safety, environmental stewardship, and the preservation of our unique quality of life. Bless their efforts to support families, seniors, veterans, children, and those who need a helping hand. Strengthen the partnerships that provide care, compassion, and hope to those facing life's challenges. We give thanks for our first responders, law enforcement officers, firefighters, healthcare workers, educators, and all public servants who dedicate themselves to the well-being of our community. We especially pray for the good work of St. Matthew's House and the David Lawrence Center. Lord, remind us that public service is a sacred trust. May our leaders always act with integrity, respect, and a commitment to the common good. Bless Collier County and all who call this place home. May we continue to work together with kindness, civility, and a shared vision for a brighter future. We ask this in God's holy name. Amen.
Amen. I'll lead in the pledge. Veterans, if you've served, hand salute is appropriate. If you're not, put your hand over your heart. I will lead the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Wait, Chris, you want to go now?
Well, after she knows.
Okay.
Commissioners, agenda changes for July 28th, 2026. We have none. Court reporter break is scheduled for 10:30 and again at 2:50 as needed. County Attorney.
No changes, thank you.
Commissioners.
Commissioner Saunders.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I have no changes to the agenda.
Commissioner Hall.
I have no changes, but I will have a comment before we approve the consent.
Go ahead, sir.
All right, I'll do it now. So on 16, I think it's K2. These are those things that we approve routinely on the Vanderbilt Beach extension, the property purchases. And, you know, I know that the reason why we seem to pay a little bit more than market is because if we choose to do eminent domain or do a taking, it's a cumbersome process. It can be expensive. But I didn't want to just keep stamping these things based on assumptions or based on an easy route. I just wanted to have a discussion. I can't talk to y'all about it. So there's things that bother me. It gives me the feeling sometimes that we're being taken advantage of as taxpayers. And on this particular one, we're purchasing just the front, I think it's a 0.6 of an acre for access for the road.
0.72, but
What is it? Whatever it is. It's a small amount, and we're paying them $255,000 for that small amount. Out of that $255,000, I want to say 30-something of it was for statutory attorney fees, and 20-something thousand of it was for expert witness fees. But we haven't even been to court. I don't understand why we have to pay that money, and it just gives me it sticks in my craw because I feel like I'm taken advantage of there. And I'm not going to pull it or anything like that, but I did just want to have a small, how do y'all feel about it?
It's my turn.
Your turn. Commissioner Castro.
I have no changes.
Commissioner McDaniel.
I have no changes nor any ex parte, and a comment, if I may, with
Yes, sir.
regard to, I would suggest maybe we actually have a hearing, bring a few of these up, do some analysis. We all know the clerk's office does a regular analysis of what's in fact transpiring, and bring a few forward and have a discussion about maybe not doing things the way we always have done it. And that I'd be totally open to do.
Commissioner Saunders.
thank you. In reference to Commissioner Hall's comments, I share that concern in terms of the high value. I did speak with the county attorney about that yesterday, and I did speak with the clerk. Florida goes really all the way it can to protect private property rights.
As it should.
And when the government takes a piece of property, the government's going to pay any expenses associated with that, the attorney's fees, the experts. That's just the way it's set up. The determination of value that ultimately results in a settlement is something that the attorney and I spoke about. Maybe he could spend a minute or two explaining how he does that. And maybe there needs to be some changes in the way we go about appraising property and making the offers, but we don't really have a whole lot of leeway. I will tell you, one of the partners of my law firm who did eminent domain work said the highest and best use of property is eminent domain, and meaning that's, you know, it's very expensive in Florida. And I'll tell you, when I was in the legislature, I actually sponsored a constitutional amendment to protect property rights. So I'm fully aware of the need for that, but that's the problem.
There's a balance.
We're gonna pay the price, no matter what that price is.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to insinuate that I wanted to have a taking of the property. I want to avoid that at all costs, but just the way that we negotiate and the amount of money that we spend on the taxpayers' behalf I just wanted to have the discussion because we can't talk about it other than that.
Yep. Before I ask for a motion, I believe we have some public comment for this particular section.
How about you? Do you have any changes or ex parte?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't have any changes or ex parte, but I do agree with the masses up here about the amount of money we spend. And every time I see these come across my desk, I question, I scratch my head. I'm like, and even this particular one here, I had the opportunity to see some of the, I don't want to say like complaint, but the defense in this thing. And it seemed like the people that own this property, and I don't want to call anybody out, but it seemed like there was a lot of liens against the property. And it gives you just, like, you're looking at it and you're thinking, we're paying all these
That's not our
debt
business,
off
yeah.
by buying this piece of property. And it's kind of like, you know, it's weird, you know, like, it's not a good visual for your taxpayer dollars when you see that. So being good stewards of it, I really think it needs to take a closer look. But I know we do have public comment for the consent.
Yes, Mr. Chair, you have 2 registered speakers, both joining us on Zoom. Your first registered speaker is Christine Black. Christine, you should be receiving a prompt to unmute yourself. Christine Black, I see you've unmuted yourself.
Yes.
You have 3 minutes, Christine.
This is my first time participating in a town meeting, and what pushed me to speak up is that once again there has been land that is going to be developed, and it's reducing our natural spaces for protecting panthers. This is just an ongoing, and I'm an example of there's so many people that want to speak up, are opposed to your taxpayers here, but this is a very intimidating process. You don't know how to speak up. You don't know how to be counted. So I'm hoping they urge people to attend the meeting. That hopefully there'll be other people speaking up. But again, that is what I am speaking for, and want more importantly to let you know that I represent many, many citizens. I'm a volunteer at Audubon Corkscrew Swamp Boardwalk. They have over 14,000 acres of conservation land. And I know that currently has got development and building all around that is in, they're opposed and up in legal. But this was specifically from a Facebook post from other taxpayers speaking up that there's currently, and again, this is the first time, so I don't know the agenda, but there's a specific development and changes that impact the Florida panther. So that's why I'm speaking up on, to alert you that there, again, many Florida taxpayers, Collier County here in Naples, that are so opposed to just the ongoing reckless development. And we can't get these land back when we continue. And that's for the development. So that was my point, and that's why I signed up and to speak today. That's all.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. This is Commissioner Kowal and Chairman. Just a heads up, you didn't mention any specific things, but just to let you know that in the process, when you want to participate in the future, that we encourage that. But if any one particular item you can sign up and speak on when that item is before the Board of County Commissioners. So in the future, if any particular item that you may want to speak on, you can always speak on it and come in and sign up for it. So just give you a heads up.
Oh, yes.
You
I know that's
spoke during the
available.
consent part of it, which is typically not, we don't address particular things in there, but since you were so general.
I'm sorry. I was confused about the format. I just know
That's
that
all right.
I had
You're
to
good.
up
That's
beforehand.
all right. You're good.
And
Well, I welcome you back.
That was my spiel. I guess you can keep that for me.
All right, ma'am.
Thank
you. Thank you. All right. And we have another speaker.
Yes, sir. Our next registered speaker is Amber Bramley. Amber, you should be receiving a prompt to unmute yourself.
Yes, good morning, commissioners. Hello?
Yes, go
Good
ahead,
morning.
Amber.
Yes, good morning. Well, I too must have the format incorrectly because I'm here to speak on the same thing as Ms. Black. Again, my name's Amber Bromley, and I wanted to ask, what legacy do we want to leave Collier County? And I'm asking because this proposal from the Hyper Club is not simply about...
Ma'am,
Yes.
you just mentioned the
Yes.
project, so I can't allow you to continue speaking.
That's on a future agenda.
What do you...
Because that's on a future agenda, and that will have a specific agenda item, and then the public will allow to petition that or speak about that agenda item. If you just want to make
The
general
information on
comments,
your
that's
board.
fine. I'm sorry, ma'am?
The information on your board said that this is the meeting to attend and speak on for that issue.
It is not, ma'am.
That was on
Sorry,
Facebook.
That was a Facebook post. It was incorrect. And once again, this is why we always remind people, don't take what you see on Facebook as face value.
Well, I
guess
didn't
it's a
see it
pun
on just
intended, but-
Facebook.
I know, but that's what's going
it's on a
around, and
lot.
that's why we have people chiming in today. It's not true. Facebook is typically not right. And when people put things on there, they're just keyboard warriors putting things on there that aren't true. So the best thing is
And I
to go on our
definitely understand
website and
that.
actually see our agenda. So, but I do appreciate
So-
it, but I can't let you continue speaking specifically on that item. So, but you are
What would
invited
be
back when we have that
the,
item on the agenda.
Do you have it on the agenda yet? Will it be there if I look today?
No, ma'am, it's not. It's way early in the process, so it's not there yet. But
Okay, all right, well, thank you.
thank you. Welcome you back. So that was it?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I move
Okay.
to approve.
All right, I have a motion to approve. Second. Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, same sign. The ayes have it. Thank you.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 2, agenda and minutes. Item 2A and 2B, if you'd like to take them together, are the minutes from the June 18th, 2026 workshop and the June 23rd, 2026 BCC meeting.
Yes, do I have a motion to approve both?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, same signal. Ayes have it.
That brings us to item 3, awards and recognitions. We do have several today. We're going to start out with item 3A1, our 20-year attendees. First up, we have Natalie Pochmara, 20 years solid and hazardous waste management. Congratulations.
Natalie has a fan club.
Yeah, you got a nice little outside. They even got a big sign.
Yeah.
She must bring donuts.
Moving on to item 3A2, our 25-year attendees, we have Latoro Valiz, 25 years, road, bridge, and stormwater maintenance.
Congrats, man.
Go me.
Item 3A3, our 30-year attendees, we have Raul Lorca, 30 years, road, bridge, and stormwater maintenance.
Carlos. Hold on. I think everyone gets
Hold on, Jesus is coming.
Got two more. Balance it out. Are you related to Carlos? I was asking. Okay. Are you related to Carlos? Yes. Are you?
Cousin, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Take care.
Cousin Carlo.
Finally, item 3A4, a huge accomplishment, 40-year attendees. We have Jesse Comorney from Utilities Finance Operations. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Not even 40 years old.
Are you accepting this for your grandfather or something, or what?
He started when Bert was 40.
Hey.
That's about right.
First one on 3. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3.
You got another.
At the same time.
That's my team.
Here come the youngsters.
Can't
Right?
do without
Yeah,
these
that's
guys.
right.
Balloons coming up.
Oh, man.
Big 4-0.
You even pulled Joseph out of the office.
Morning, Joe. Who's counting the beans?
That's going to kind of block it over. Hold the 4-0. Last time I checked.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3.
40 years ago.
Yes.
My chair.
Mine too. Mine's like
Yeah,
keeps
it just
sliding
keeps
down.
sliding
All
over.
these chairs, they're like they won't stay up, or they're all.
Yeah, I
Might be
think
time now.
Might be time for a chair replacement.
Yeah, doing the same thing.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 4, proclamations. Item 4A is a proclamation designating August 2026 as National Wellness Month, to be accepted by Jessica Liria, Director of Community Wellness and Impact, David Lawrence Centers for Behavioral Health, and the DLC Wellness Institute. Congratulations.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thanks for all you do.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thanks for all you do. Thanks. Thank you. Okay, so on 3. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Yes. You'd like to say a few words? Yes. You got one on the podium. Yeah, just chairs.
Booby trapping the chair.
Yeah, this chair is junk. Oh, God.
All right, good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, and County leadership. Thank you for this recognition and for proclaiming August 2026 as National Wellness Month in Collier County. This proclamation acknowledges that wellness extends beyond physical health to include our mental and emotional well-being, and that these dimensions of health are deeply interconnected. I am honored to accept this proclamation on behalf of the DLC Wellness Institute, a division of David Lawrence Centers for Behavioral Health. The Wellness Institute was created from a simple but important belief that prevention, education, and early intervention can help individuals, families, and communities thrive. Through evidence-based trainings, workshops, presentations, and community partnerships, we work to equip people with practical tools that support mental wellness and build resilience. For many years, conversations about wellness focused primarily on our physical health. Today, we know that mental health is health. It influences how we think, feel, connect with others, navigate stress, and contribute to our communities. When we invest in mental wellness, we strengthen our workforce, our schools, our families, and the overall vitality of Collier County. As we recognize National Wellness Month, I encourage everyone to take small, meaningful steps to care for their well-being. Check in on the people around them, and remember that seeking support is a sign of strength. On behalf of David Lawrence Centers for Behavioral Health and the DLC Wellness Institute, thank you for your commitment to making wellness a priority across Collier County. As we recognize National Wellness Month, let us remember that mental health is not separate from wellness, it is wellness. Together we can build a community where every person has the opportunity to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to pass
Mr. Chairman,
accept the proclamation?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve the proclamation.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sound, same sign. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Commissioners, that does bring us to public comment. Before we get started, we may have a few other folks signed up here related to the Hyper Club out at the Ford Test Track. So again, those comments won't be heard today. The proper time for those will be as it moves through the hearing process. And just to the viewing public, this is very early in the process. They've submitted over to our growth management department, and will be working its way through those the zoning reviews. There'll be opportunity for public comment not only at the Planning Commission but ultimately at the Board of County Commissioners. And this is a process that takes months, if not longer, not days. So this is not something that is going to be before the Board of County Commissioners for several months. So with that, Tom.
Can I add something?
Sure, go ahead. Commissioner.
Just for the people in the audience and anybody who might be listening, and especially reporters who've been incorrectly reporting on a lot of the different developments that get approved and how they get approved. A couple things, and it was already said here. Facebook isn't run by the county, so when people bombard Facebook and then give misinformation and say you need to storm the county building with torches and pitchforks because they're about to build a racetrack. We haven't voted on anything. As the county manager said, this thing is months, maybe even a lot longer. It goes through a very complicated and our detailed process through the planning commission, through the permitting process, through our county staff before it ever gets to us. So I read a lot of those very rude Facebook comments. There go the commissioners again. Have already approved for a giant racetrack to be. We haven't even seen anything yet. We haven't approved anything. It hasn't been vetted. The contractor could decide they're halfway through the process and it never even comes to us. So it's really frustrating, I will tell you, for this county commissioner when I see myself and my colleagues, getting bashed for something that is total misinformation, as to what we may have already approved. And secondly, sometimes when I read those comments, sometimes citizens think that we're taking national forestry land and we're giving it to developers and then we're allowing them to just decimate it. I'll even see articles written by who I think are responsible reporters. Well, another 4,000 acres of trees have been mowed down by the county commissioners. That private property is not a national forest. It's not part of the Everglades. We will do our due diligence, and when things get approved, sometimes I tell citizens, I know you hate it, but that was draft number 25 after we spent months and months and months trying to figure out how to skinny down a project that maybe is needed in the community, but it doesn't need to be so large. But it's built on private property. So a lot of times what I see on social media is it's inferred that somehow we're taking green space. The only or they'll say vacant property that the county commissioners have handed over to developers. The only vacant land in Collier County is the Everglades. Everything else is privately owned, zoned for something, and it's our job to control that growth. But to just say no across the board just because we got a petition with 500 names, what I told a citizen the other day is, if I made you a county commissioner today and 4 of your closest friends, the other 4 commissioners, and you just voted no on everything because you wanted everything untouched or you wanted everything to be a dog park, you'd be using a large amount of county tax dollars going to court and losing in 5 minutes to somebody who owns a piece of property and is allowed to consider developing it. So, and I haven't seen anything rubber stamped by any county commissioner up here. What I see mostly is us making really difficult decisions, and a lot of them are legal decisions when it comes to property rights. We're citizens as well, but more often than not, we're doing it in an empty room. Hundreds of people are on social media, but we'll get a small amount of emails or a small amount of people in the room here, and that's the disappointing part. But I do. Commissioner McDaniel always tells me, stay off social media; it'll drive you crazy. But there's so so much misinformation out there, and it does bother me personally because I see the hard work of the county staff, of the planning commission, and you know, as I've told people, these jobs sometimes look easy from the sidelines, but we're not over here giving away free land to developers. Like I said, if you owned that property and spent $50 million for it, the county's not going to legally tell you that you can only build a dog park. That's just not how it works. So a lot of people write a lot of things on social media, and unfortunately it causes people to come to a meeting like this thinking, you know, they're going to stand up against the bully county commissioners who are a bunch of imbeciles. And the reality is you can't speak at the podium unless it's on the agenda. It's not going to be on our agenda for a very long time, maybe if that ever. So doing a little due diligence or sending us, you know, when I get a professional note from a citizen just asking the details of when they can speak, or just being inquisitive rather than just saying, I can't believe you've done this, that, or the other. I really appreciate the professional notes and having a conversation and saying, no, I hear you. I have similar concerns as you, but it's not even close to coming into my inbox yet. It's going to go through a whole series of levels of assessment. And citizens that want to be informed and responsible and also want to be heard, that's the best way to do it. Figure out who your county commissioner is up here and converse with them. But Facebook's a dangerous thing that pumps up a lot of citizens for no reason. And like I said, we're not giving away pieces of the Everglades. And I know citizens, I'll close with this. Everything that has something green on it isn't a panther preserve. So they throw around that term a lot, and everybody up here is wildlife sensitive and focused, and I know there'll be people that'll laugh at that and say, oh, you don't care. I say to those citizens, where do you live? And then when they tell me where they live, I say, you know, that was once covered with trees and, you know, and I'm sure wildlife and whatnot, and they mowed all those things down to build your beautiful, you know, $1 million, $500,000 home. So just because something has trees on it doesn't mean it's not buildable. And the lots with trees on them are privately owned by citizens who own that property and can do something with it. So it's not a matter of us giving away vacant land or allowing something to be built on panther preserves that seem to be all over this county. I mean, if somebody wants to build a Dairy Queen, we'll get 5 or 10 or 50 emails saying, oh, you know, there again, you know, you're taking away a wildlife habitat. For something to be a panther preserve, it has to go through a very rigorous inspection by environmental groups and the state and whatnot, and they'll tell us what section of land is actually has those kind of issues or warrants those kind of protections. But everything that's green doesn't fall under that. So it's you know, so a little bit of information and a lack of misinformation, a little less of it, I think would go a long way to helping our citizens sort of understand the process, and then to more eloquently speak, to give us their feedback, their pushback, their displeasure or whatever. I welcome that, as long as it comes from a position of understanding what we're doing and what we're not doing. So as the county manager said, if there's people here that are looking to talk about the racetrack, it has to actually be on our agenda, and it won't be for a while because it has to go through so many different levels before it comes to us. And usually when it does come to us, it looks totally different than what you read on Facebook, because all those different county vetting processes tweaked it, downsized it, changed it, had the developer decide that the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, and they walked away from the project. And so sometimes we don't even get to see it because they decide not to do it. But anyway, I read a lot of those comments and probably shouldn't, but it does get me upset because I feel like I serve with 5 really dedicated public servants up here. I know I do, who are doing our best to work within the law, work within property rights, work within what the state passes down. You know, if there's some citizens that will leave such long comments, and then somebody will say, no, actually, that fell under the Live Local Act. And then 50 people will say, what's the Live Local Act? Okay, well, you don't necessarily need to know it by heart, but we have to, and we fall under some of those state guidances and some of the property right laws that don't allow us to just say no to everything because we got 50 emails from some people who don't want it in their backyard. So anyway, I've said my piece, but you know, I see how hard my colleagues work, and especially our county staff, at trying to do the right thing. And it just seems like nothing we do will ever please everybody, and we all know that. But it's frustrating for this commissioner when I get pushback from somebody, and it's okay if we agree to disagree, but when you don't have the proper information, or you say, well, I read this on Facebook and it told me to do this, reach out to your commissioner. I'd love to have a conversation with my constituents, and do all the time, as do all of us, trying to separate rumor from fact. And there's a lot of rumor in this county, and we need a little bit more fact so citizens can be prepared to speak properly with what how they feel about something. But it comes from a position of understanding the process first, and the issue at hand, not just sort of guesswork because of something they read on Facebook. So just thought I would say that. But thanks, Amy, for clarifying that it's going to be a while before it comes to us, if at all.
All right. Well, just before we get into public comment, just real quick, I know I might have sounded like kind of rude in a way with the speaker online, but in reality is that the only reason we have this rule, and the important reason we have this rule is because if we do hear something, and sometimes we hear things that are quasi-judicial up here, especially land use things where we're doing zoning changing. The thing is, if we allow the citizens just to talk about an item that's coming before us, it's not fair to the other side, the other petitioner, because they're not in the room to counter talk to it. And so that's why we make sure when we have an item that's going to be in the future on our agenda, that we don't just allow a bunch of people shotgun affecting this particular item where the petitioner is not available to have an opportunity to speak against it or against those comments. So that's why we set it aside on an agenda, and that day will be the day that the public has the right to petition the petitioner with their comments or your comments to us as the Board of County Commissioners before we make our decision. But that's the reason we do that. It's more of a legal thing than anything, because it's not fair to the other side. It would just be like you, if you had something you wanted to be done on your own private property, and we allowed 100 people up here to talk how bad what your idea is, but we don't invite you to the meeting to defend yourself. That's the reason we do that. So I just don't want to make it sound like I'm just being rude and not letting people speak. There's a more legality to it. So, and that's why we have that rule in place, and it's been in place for a long time, to the point we had to actually rewrite it even in the paragraph. Even though it's on the front cover of the agenda when you pick it up in the morning, those rules are on there. So with that being said, I believe we have some public comments.
We do, Mr. Chair. We have 6 registered speakers, 4 in the room and 2 on Zoom. I'll remind speakers you have 3 minutes, and you'll hear a single beep with 30 seconds remaining. Our first registered speaker in the room is Garrett FX Byron.
For the record, Garrett FX Byron, veteran of several wars. In any case, I'm here to thank the Veterans Administration of Collier County. They saved my life so many times. You know, people don't realize what the VA does after you leave the organization. And my father was a Army. In World War II, he was actually, like me, he had secret clearance, and we were not allowed to talk about things that we saw and did because it wasn't acceptable to everybody. And we were both in the Army, so he was assigned basically to hunt Nazis in New York and in Chicago. And he wasn't allowed to carry a gun. It was an offshoot of the illegal practices of the FBI. Long and short is that he was basically assigned to guarding the shipping, where the sympathizers of the Nazis were actually blowing up ships in the harbors of New York and in Chicago. My job was a lot easier. I had secret clearance too. My only job was to protect, unfortunately, to protect anybody that was trying to blow up New York City, which is where my father's office was in the Empire State Building. Our job was to actually guard Manhattan from incoming MiG jets that were supposed to attack us during the war in Vietnam. None of them came in, and I'm listed as always secret clearance, and I was a fireman, which was the funniest part because a fireman isn't a fireman. I actually was a fireman. My job was to launch missiles into New York City. There was 35 of us that were actually qualified, and the lieutenants were always going to be taken out first because that's who they shoot. So long and short is I want to thank the VA because they have saved my life so many times right here in Naples. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't know about all the cancers that I've got pending, whether or not they're going to take my arm off, which is funny because I'm wearing the fatigues, my pants that I wore, and they're button fly, okay? That's how old these pants are, 1968. So with that 3 minutes, I want to once again thank, and everybody that's a veteran, you can go there and they'll help you figure out why you're so friggin' paranoid like I am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next registered speaker is Louis Gopher.
Morning.
Morning.
Louis Gopher Jr. I'm a member of the Seminole Tribe of Florida. I reside in Okeechobee County, but my ancestors and my elders have told me that South Florida is the traditional homeland of our people. I come here today to let you know that I am opposed to all development that has been happening in Florida. Our homeland is at risk. This development that you guys have discussed a little bit is just a taste of what is being destroyed out there. When you have development, that is also degradation. You know, recently we came to this commissioners to ask for support of shutting down a cell tower that was in the Everglades. And you guys moved it. I don't know if it's been relocated or if that project's gonna go through. But I just wanted to make a comment also that there is an association that submitted a letter to the Army Corps related to this issue that you guys have given us a good preface for. The South Florida Wildlands Association. I think about 7,000 people have signed on a petition to support that letter in opposition to this project.
Sir, once again, I want to just caution you that there's going to be a time and a place for these comments, and I would enjoy to have you come back and speak about it.
We'll come back.
It wouldn't be fair, like I said before. It's more of a legality thing.
Yes, sir.
You know, they are a person that's going to eventually petition this board.
I only got 3 minutes. I'll move on. Okay.
I appreciate
but
that.
I am
Thank
asking for you guys' support in the opposition, as you did for the cell tower. Another
Well, it was a
issue that I would like to bring.
communication tower.
What's that?
Communication tower,
Yeah, communication tower.
EMS.
The other issue I would like to talk about was a HEX meeting that happened last Wednesday. It was related to NISA that's happening on the Oil Well Road. It's a master sanitary boost station that's going to be built out there to support developments that are happening on Oil Well Road. I'm here to voice my opposition for that project as well. I believe that's going to be the initial infrastructure to support this development, which is going to have a tremendous impact on the indigenous people that live off of Oil Well Road. I understand that, you know, it's going to go through the planning and it has to get approval for certain endangered species, native vegetation, all this stuff, you know, but I guess what I'm asking you guys is that these items that have environmental impacts that damage the indigenous people, that damage the environment that we're from, that they don't even come to the agenda, right? I don't even want the Hyper Club to come to a future agenda.
Okay, once again, I'm going to caution you. Actually, you're done. Thank you.
I'm asking you for
Thank you.
I'm telling you I'm opposed to the development.
I told you, you're more than welcome to come back when that comes before the Board of County Commissioners.
We'll be
Thank
back.
you. Thank you, sir. All right.
Your next registered speaker is Danny Billy.
Good morning. What I want to say is that I wasn't here in May, June, or in July for the other projects that y'all approve for development. But, you know, I'm opposed to all that because I am the one that live off of Oil Well Road. We have a village there, and we've seen what the impact has done to the environment out there. I mean, when we first moved there back in late 90s or late 80s, you know, probably one car went by in about 2 hours. Now it's constant. Even you hear sirens out there all the time. And then the wildlife comes to our village too, looking for something to eat. The bears, the panthers. I have pictures on my phone of the panther coming to my village. And so, like I said, in general, I don't want any more development going on there, because the eastern Collier County is under attack, and it's like a cancer eating up everything. And when we was coming in today from out there, you've seen that development that's going up right now. It's gouging out the land, destroying everything in its way. And I know that you're saying that property people have rights and this and that, but so do we, and so does the animal, so does the environment. And that law comes from the Creator, God. And that's supreme law of the land, God. And you need to understand that too. But as a warning, when is this developing is going to stop? Because if we keep continuing this, we're not saying or doing anything for the future of our next generation, you and I. And one day when your grandchild come up to you and ask you, Grandpa, why is there no bear? Grandpa, why is there no panther? Are you going to look them in the eye and tell them that it's because you made that decision? Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next registered speaker is Daniel Tommy.
Good morning. Thank you for your time and consideration. It was pretty awesome actually to hear you guys have some heart and mind and soul, that you guys kind of consider things that come across your table, because a lot of commissioners kind of are viewed as cold-blooded, but you guys, when I heard and saw what you guys said, it really made me think that you guys are for, you guys make rational decisions. You guys look at the facts and both sides. So I had to do a little face on what I was going to say. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. However, I also am, I was raised by my grandparents out in Big Cypress Seminole Indian Reservation. I live adjacent to Collier County, and I like to photograph. I take pictures of animals. I just recently bought, I guess I'm crazy, a 400 to 800 millimeter lens, so I can zoom in. Yesterday I was taking a picture of a doe and two little fawns. I love it. It's awesome. Everybody needs to experience that. And just like Mr. Billy said, they need to be out here. They have a right. The earth can exist without humans, but it cannot exist without animals. If we take the animals out of the equation, we're taking ourselves out. Because the more we pollute our air, the more we pollute our waters, like it's been said, we're endangering our great grandkids. So when I advocate for wildlife, I'm looking out for everybody, my grandkids, your grandkids. So thank you guys for what you do, and it's good that you guys have some heart. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Just one little thing.
You need to get with Commissioner
Sir?
Saunders, because he's got a lot of nice cameras too. He takes pictures
he sure
of
does.
wildlife.
Yeah, we ought to get a copy of his comments distributed generally to the public. Because those are very kind words about.
Well, except for just one clarification, Commissioner LaCastro is the only one that's cold-blooded.
Thank you for those comments.
Seriously. Thank you.
For our next registered speaker, we'll go to Zoom. Our first registered speaker on Zoom is Daniel Hale. Daniel, you should be receiving a prompt to unmute yourself. Daniel Hale. All right, we will move on from Dale and come back to him momentarily. Our next registered speaker on Zoom is Hildy Scheck. Hildy, you should be receiving a prompt to unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Hildy, and before I begin, I'd like to thank you for your willingness to serve our community. It's something I've always wanted to do, but find I'm too busy. So I know it's easy to criticize from the sidelines, but much harder to devote the time, energy, and thought that public service requires, and I appreciate you. I'm here today because I believe one of the greatest opportunities before you is protecting the mature trees that make Collier County so beautiful. I understand that Florida is going to grow, and I respect private property rights. My hope, though, is whenever possible, mature trees are preserved. And when they can't be, we encourage meaningful replacement so future generations inherit the same beauty and environmental benefits that we get to enjoy. Florida is going to grow, and no one expects it to stop. But it's not about whether we grow, it's how we grow. So your opportunity to assess this future development and encourage developers to first look at already cleared, previously disturbed, underutilized, or vacant land before considering projects that would clear mature trees. And when mature trees must come down, I hope that you can look for ways to encourage meaningful replacement. We have no shortage of land that's already been cleared. Let's challenge ourselves to breathe new life into those places before clearing mature trees that have been quietly serving our communities, cleaning our air, cooling our neighborhoods, helping reduce flooding, and making Collier County so beautiful. So this is an opportunity before you to set the standard for the rest of Florida, to show that thoughtful growth and responsible stewardship can go hand in hand. And I hope future generations will look back and see that you chose to preserve as much of our mature tree canopy as possible while continuing to build a thriving community. I thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will circle back one more time to Daniel Hale. Daniel, you should be receiving a prompt to unmute yourself. One last time for Daniel Hale.
All right, Tom, thank you. All right, this is going to close our section of public comment. Thank you, County Manager.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 10, Board of County Commissioners. Item 10A is a recommendation that the Board of County Commissioners, acting as the Collier County Airport Authority, approve the concept of a proposed solicitation for development, financing, management, and/or operation opportunities at Immokalee Regional Airport and Everglades Air Park, and authorize the county manager or designee to prepare and advertise a solicitation consistent with the board's approved concept. This item is brought to the agenda by Commissioner McDaniel.
Mr. McDaniel.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair. This was part and parcel to a conversation we had 2 weeks ago at our other meeting when that unsolicited offer came in for a sale lease back for that FBO facility on Marco Island. That prompted a discussion for us to give consideration to not just continuing to do business as we always have, and this is the proposition that we brought forward. We know we need and have a plan for a new FBO in Immokalee. We know that the FBO in Everglades Air Park was damaged in Irma, not really fixed all that well, got whacked again in Ian. And so the process here, I would just like to interject. I'm going to make a motion for approval of this as it's brought forward, but I would like to interject while whoever's in preparation of the solicitation, whether it be an ITN or an RPS, that the language of design, build, and operate be party to that. So, and none of them are mutually exclusive, but I just want that to make sure that language is included.
So you made a motion. Before we motion or get a second, we do have public comment for this particular item. Tom?
Yes, sir. We have one registered speaker in the room, Jen Estrada.
Good morning.
Hi, I know my name is difficult. It's Elen Estrada, and I've been a resident of Golden Gate Estates since 1996. I'm a realtor and also a licensed title agent, and I'm speaking regarding item 10A and the proposed solicitation involving the Immokalee Regional Airport and Everglades Airport. I support exploring responsible private investment that can create jobs, improve airport facility, generate revenues, and strengthen the economy of Immokalee and Eastern Collier County. However, the language of the item is extremely broad. It refers not only to development and financing, but also to the possible management and operation of publicly owned airport assets. Before the concept is approved and staff is authorized to advertise the solicitation, the public deserves to understand exactly what is being offered. It is the county seeking, I'm sorry, I'm old, I can't see this too much. It is the county seeking proposal to develop vacant land and individual facilities. Is it considering private management of certain airport services or potential broader operation of one or both airports? Will Immokalee Regional Airport and Everglades Airport be offered together? Could one private company propose to manage or operate both facilities? The board should also clarify the possible length of these arrangements, whether existing airport tenants will be protected, and whether airport property could be used for non-aviation development. I understand there's about 1,300 acres in reference to this. Most importantly, every proposed lease, financing arrangement, management contract, or operating agreement resulting from this solicitation should return to the board for public review and approval. Residents should also be told how traffic, noise, utilities, drainage, public safety, and environmental impacts will be evaluated, and whether the county or its taxpayers could assume any financial responsibility if anticipated private revenue does not materialize. Immokalee residents and businesses must have a meaningful opportunity to participate before the solicitation is issued, not only after proposals have already been received. Responsible private investment can be very beneficial, but the boundaries, safeguards, and public benefits should be clearly established from the beginning. Economic development should not simply occur in Immokalee, it should benefit Immokalee, and the public should understand what is being proposed before publicly owned airport assets are committed to any long-term arrangement. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was our only registered speaker.
Thank you, Tom. We have any other comments? Is that a motion?
I did.
Any other comments? Oh, I got a couple lit up now. Commissioner Saunders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm a little reluctant to go along with this at this point. Several years back, there was a big effort for private industry to purchase airports, and I know we're not talking about purchasing an airport, but there was even an offer to purchase the Alligator Alley, and so that a private operator could own and operate that and charge tolls. And even with the ability to restrict the increases in tolls, it just seemed like a bad idea to take public assets like a highway or an airport and turn it over to private enterprise. I think before I would be willing to go forward with this, I would need to have a workshop on these airports and have some testimony, some information concerning what are the potentials for this before we solicit some private interest. Because I think at least personally, I don't know enough about the potential for these airports to be able to ask for a solicitation. I would not have the ability, quite frankly, to fully understand whether a solicitation, a response, is something that would be good for the county or not, because I don't know what the benefits are or what we can do with those airports on our own. So I think I would need to have some kind of a workshop on these airports and the potential for their future before I went out to the public for a solicitation.
Mr. Hall.
Well, Chairman, the way that I understand this is we're going to just kind of open it up for private enterprise, for their creativity and their concepts. We're not approving anything. We're just going to open it up for a broader array of thinking when it comes to the airport. I don't think that we're going to talk about ever turning it over to the private enterprise, but there's things that the government does well, and there's things that private enterprise does well. I kind of like the idea of getting the creativity and seeing what is out there, instead of us telling the solicitor, this is how we want you to bid it and this is what we want you to do. I would be interested in hearing, coming back to us, this is what we can do for you. This is how we can publicly and privately partner with you to make this a public asset and have it run efficiently and maybe even better. So is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. It says it right there in the executive summary.
I just want to make sure that I was understanding it correctly, and
Yes,
that. So I kind of like the idea of opening it up and taking a 50,000 foot view. No pun intended.
That's a long way.
Mr. LaCastro.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I feel the same way. The key word that jumps out at me is we're approving for a concept to be put together. So I may very well hate every single thing that comes back from that concept proposal, but until I have something in front of me. Conversely, this similar conversation, as Commissioner McDaniel said, the Marco Island Executive Airport was sort of rolled into this. But, Marco Island Executive Airport's in my district, and as the commissioner that oversees that airport more closely and works with the county staff, we didn't feel like we needed any concept out there because the airport is operating in a way that I think is very efficient, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I really think the focus was on these two airports, which are in Commissioner McDaniel's district. So whether I agree or disagree moving forward, until I have something in front of me to consider, and one of the things I would say is if a commissioner who these airports fall under a specific commissioner's district, if he feels supportive or passionate about moving forward here, then I support that. Who am I to say? I'm not going to blanket stamp approval on anything when it comes to us, but we'll see. But obviously you feel there's merit to it, and I think I agree with Commissioner Hall. I'm here to support something that you feel has merit to at least explore. I didn't think it had merit for the Marco Island Executive Airport, and I appreciate it, the Marco Island Executive Airport being removed from this conceptual proposal. But you feel differently about these two airports, so let's see what comes back. We could, there again, we haven't approved anything yet, so we're not doing anything. The commissioners haven't voted to unanimously totally reconfigure these airports, sell them to somebody, pocket the money, all the stuff that you tend to hear. So I would support the concept. I think the specifics and the details in the writing are going to be very important. But I know Commissioner McDaniel would agree with that. So he's not going to let anything come to us. Nothing's going to come to us until you see the proposal and feel, I would hope, that you would feel it would be ready for all five of us to discuss. So, I'd support moving forward with the idea until we, and we're not voting, obviously, on doing anything other than just moving forward with the idea. So.
Mr. McDaniel.
Yeah, and thank you for the support. There is a lot going on with regard to Immokalee. There is a lot going on to the Everglades Air Park. So this is a path. And when Commissioner Saunders was speaking earlier, and even our public speaker mentioned concerns of how and what and where. How do we know if we don't ask? And this is the process that we do in fact ask. And then those proposals, this agenda item actually asks for the vendors, if you will, to come and present to us. And so with that, again, I'll make the motion for approval.
Okay. Yeah, I fall in line with Commissioner LaCastro and Commissioner Hall on this, because it does, when I first read it, and I did see the word concept, and words do have meanings. So, and I understand Commissioner Saunders' position also, but in a way, nothing's going to happen until it comes through us and the vetting process and everything. So I think bring in conceptual ideas to us on how to improve things or do things like that. That might be our workshop. In reality, is that somebody is bringing things instead of us, once again, government sitting around spitballing what we could or couldn't ask for.
Makes
You know,
sense.
maybe somebody in the public can come up and say, hey, we've done this before in, you know, Arizona or something, and this works great or something, you know, then that would be something we can consider at the time, in real time, and not just sit around and then put something out. We might miss something. You know, we might miss something in our comments. So, you know, I have a tendency to I believe what we're doing is just pretty much putting it out there, seeing if there's any nibble on the bait, I guess.
Right.
But Commissioner Saunders, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to go ahead and support the motion. I think that I'm going to be somewhat skeptical when it comes back. I think we all are. Because quite frankly, I just don't have a understanding of what what the potential is. I'd like to have that before we do a solicitation. But I understand. I don't disagree with any of the comments that have been made, so I'll support the motion at this point. But I just want Commissioner McDaniel to know that I do have a lot of skepticism about the privatization of these types of operations.
I mean, I'll make a comment. I don't know if it's a trade secret or anything, but in reality, we have 3 airports in our county airport authority here. Is it Immokalee, Everglades, and Marco? In reality, is that those 2 that are on this particular item, Marco pretty much carries those 2.
Yeah.
So in reality, is whatever we're doing right now with them isn't working. So if we could get some more ideas, more public money maybe involved, and better ideas on how to run it or operate it, we wouldn't have to have Marco supporting the other 2. And I you know, it is what it is.
Well, and that's the rationale behind this. It's you know, our community made an investment in Marco Island, spent $20-some odd million on a new FBO, new hangars, new fuel split, but did a whole bunch of things to enhance that operation, and the benefits have now come back necessarily in spades with regard to the revenue stream, and that's the reason that I'm having that I would like for this to go forward.
Okay, so I have a motion?
Yeah. Can I
And a
just-
second.
Castro.
Yeah, and I'll just add one thing, and maybe it's more for the public who might be listening. You know, all the airports are different, so, you know, comparing, you know, Marco, the business that we have that's out there, it's apples and chairs, so it doesn't mean that these 2 airports are imploding because of poor leadership or anything like that. A lot of it's just business and location and whatnot, so, you know, I'll echo what's already been said, a different way of doing business so that these 2 airports are prosper, or there's a better plan or whatever, you know, to me is worth exploring, but, you know, it's not because something's being done wrong at these 2 airports. Marco is in a really strategic location, and, you know, is used by totally different people and across the board. So that's why I wanted to pull it out, because, and I appreciate that support, but I think these 2 bear consideration for a look of maybe doing something different, better. So I'll second the motion.
Commissioner Hall already did, but we're good.
Oh, okay.
We got a motion and a second.
Too late.
Commissioner Hall. Too late. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, same sign. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 11. Item 11A is a recommendation to award request for professional services number 24-8286.
Can I make one quick comment before we go there? And I didn't bring him up to the podium just because it wasn't requisite, but apparently we got Darren a raise because he's wearing socks today. He was here just in case he had to speak. And
I got you.
I made that comment the last time, made a joke about him, but apparently he got a little bit more money in his paycheck. So thank you for allowing me to indulge.
Of course. It's on record now.
I know.
All right. Item 11A is a recommendation to award request for professional services number 24-8286, design services for Immokalee Road and Livingston Road flyover to DRMP Inc. in the amount of $7,594,351.10. Approve the necessary budget amendments and authorize the chair to sign the attached agreement. Ms. Marlene Messam, your supervisor, project management, from Transportation Management Services, is here to answer questions or present at your pleasure.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, County Manager. I have a very brief presentation. I can go through it and provide some highlights of the project, or I can answer any specific questions you might have.
Well, I got a pretty deep dive behind the scenes. With
We all
our-
do. I'd like to
Yeah.
see, I'd like to, well, whoever wants to make a motion for approval, but I'd like to see her very brief presentation because this is a large amount
Large
of
amount
money.
of
and-
money.
Yeah,
and,
same here. I'd like to hear the presentation, may have a few questions as well.
Okay.
All right. So,
So as the county manager very well articulated, we're requesting approval to award request for professional services number 24-8286
read it.
to DRMP Inc., approve the associated budget amendment, and authorize the chairman to sign the agreement for project 60268. I'll go to the next slide if I can. Okay, brief history on the project. Immokalee Road has long been faced with congestion challenges. In August 2021, a major corridor study recommended constructing a 4-lane flyover carrying Livingston over Immokalee Road. On January 13, 2025, we issued the request for professional services for the design work, and on June 10th, the board authorized staff to negotiate with DRMP, the top-ranked firm. We successfully negotiated a contract price of $7,594,351.10. This slide represents the project overview, marking the point at which we are requesting approval to move the design forward. From the slide, I'll just point out some key features here. The project includes constructing the bridge taking Livingston Road over Immokalee Road. And the limits along Immokalee Road would be 3,000 feet to the east and 1,500 feet to the west. Along Livingston Road, the limits are 4,000 feet north and 4,000 feet south. We are coordinating with FDOT to the I-75 due to the I-75 interchange and Sun Trail design occurring within the same limits. The design phase is expected to take 30 months. I'll just skip forward to the other slide I had and just give you some typical sections illustrating the general arrangement of the bridge, the ramps, the roadway improvements. These details will be refined during the design process. So to conclude, we recommend to award for professional services number 24-8286, design services for Immokalee Road and Livingston Road flyover to DRMP Inc. in the amount of $7,594,351.10. Approve the attached budget amendment and authorize the chairman to sign the attached agreement for project number 60268. I will entertain any questions you might have.
Commissioner Hall.
Good, thank you, Chairman. In talking with my wife about this project, we had a question.
Oh, goodness.
The flyover is going to be over Immokalee, but there's also going to have to be a red light underneath for people to go through to get to see the table going north. How much more traffic is Immokalee going to be able to move east and west, even with that same light there?
We will not just have one signal at the intersection where the two roadways meet. We will have a signalization system similar to what you see at Golden Gate Parkway and Airport Road. If you're familiar with that intersection, I'm sure you are.
Yes.
So in terms of the traffic number, the volume of traffic that is going to be moving, I don't have that specific number at this moment, but the point of the project is to alleviate congestion that we're seeing now. So the design we will efficiently design the project so that we are solving the problems that we're having now. But there will be a signalization system adequate to move that traffic along.
Yeah, I understand that. I could see if the underlying, under the overpass, if that light was eliminated, but it can't be because you still have to have traffic stopping and going.
Right.
That wants to access.
Movement.
I was just, the problem with that intersection is the east-west movement of Immokalee. It's really not Livingston. I didn't know if in the future we were going to, with the opening of Veterans Memorial, if we were going to anticipate more traffic movement. So Trinity, explain it.
So, Commissioner, what this will allow us to do is reallocate the green time. So what you will do is, instead of having the length of time that you would typically give to the north-south movement, you will now give that green time to the east-west movement. And what you would give to that north-south movement will be much less because you will have less traffic going to the north-south. Yes, they will still have a north-south movement. So just as when you go to Airport and Golden Gate today, and anyone who lived here prior to us having the overpass at Airport and Golden Gate, we used to have miles of backup for both roadways. But once that overpass went in, now Golden Gate Parkway flows very freely, and Airport Road benefits from that because it gets significantly more north-south green time from that, and you can still go at grade on Golden Gate Parkway. You still get that green time and You're not sitting there. So that's really the benefit, is that you can push more traffic through on Airport Road and you push more traffic through on Golden Gate Parkway as well.
Great, that makes good sense. Because at $235,000 per month just for someone to do the thinking, I needed to know that.
In our initial traffic modeling that we looked at back for the corridor congestion study, the no build in 2040 versus the overpass, the delay reduction was 400 seconds. So 400 seconds, that's 6 minutes?
A lot.
Yeah. So that was the reduction for 470 seconds to 77 in the AM. So that's the predominant westbound.
I like it.
In 2040. So you got to figure the growth through 2040.
Mr. McDaniel.
Yeah, and thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make mention that, visualize what's already in existence at Golden Gate Parkway and Airport Road. I would assume that this will look similar to that from a traffic management standpoint. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then two, remember, this is one part of a whole system. We have the expansion of I-75 coming, the new lanes on that route, the improvements along Immokalee Road for directional management, the Veterans Memorial Parkway opening up and being a through route. So this is one part of a whole system, and I just wanted to make mention of that.
Commissioner Saunders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When is the projected construction time for this? Assuming we approve this, when would we actually begin construction on a flyover? And when would that be completed?
This is within our 5-year program currently. So I would anticipate we have 30 months for design. I believe we have it programmed in probably our 3rd or 4th year of our 5-year work program, which is within our AUIR timeframe. So we're probably looking at about 5.5, maybe 6 years for construction completion. Okay. It will be just after, most likely, the DDI. It will be after the DDI, their diverging diamond, is completed, though.
Now, there are a couple other intersections, smaller roads, but there's some intersections where there tends to be a backup as you head further west. Will there be other improvements on Immokalee Road to facilitate? I mean, you're going to get more flow going west in the morning. Are there plans to improve traffic along the way there? So we get more traffic, but it gets blocked up at other locations.
So west of this intersection, currently we do not have other improvements scheduled. East of this intersection, on either side of the the actual interchange. So at Juliet and Northbrook, we're currently working with the Florida Department of Transportation to incorporate intersection improvements within the diverging diamond. And then we are also looking at Logan Boulevard for improvements. That's probably a little bit longer term. That was identified within our corridor congestion study as well, but those are longer term improvements.
And is there an estimate of the total cost of this flyover?
It's approximately $111 million.
Does that include the?
That includes the
setback?
design as well.
All right, thank you.
All right. We have a motion.
I'll second if it hadn't been seconded.
I got a motion, Commissioner McDaniel, and a second by Commissioner Saunders. All in favor, do we have no public speakers?
No, sir.
Oh, thank you, Tom. I didn't want to jump ahead. So, motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sound, same sign. The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job.
Commissioners, before we start item 12A, how many speakers do we have, Tom?
So far, 2.
2. Okay. Did you want to take a court reporter break?
Yeah, I have it marked down here.
And then we can come back for 12A.
All right, so we'll come back at 10:30.
Oh, good.
Back from break, we'll go ahead and get started. I think we're moving to item 11A?
12A.
Or 12A.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry. Jumped
Yes,
ahead
sir.
here.
Item 12A is a recommendation to have a discussion on the means to regulate data centers on the acceptance, processing, and consideration of applications for development orders and development permits. This item is here on the county attorney's report, so I'll hand it over to Mr. Klatskow and Mr. Bosey.
Yes, this is just a way to get this before the board pursuant to your request at the last meeting. We currently have zoning in progress. That would be good enough. If the board would prefer a moratorium, that would be a little more formal. But they're both effective.
Okay. Quick question. On a moratorium, though, aren't there certain guidelines the state kind of sets us time limits and things like that, right?
Well, basically a year.
Okay. And this way, the zoning in progress, though, we can actually have some working towards some sort of end result, and then we wouldn't have to worry about a moratorium if
Yes,
we have the right language and what we're trying to achieve, correct?
That's correct, but we have to have work in progress. We just can't sit on our hands. As long as we have work in progress, we're fine.
All right, thank you. Any comments? Do we have public speakers? Yeah, we do, right?
Two. Yes, sir.
Two. Let's go ahead and listen to them, and then, unless Mr. Bosey wants to continue present. Would you have anything to say?
Mike Bosey, Plan and Zoning Director. No, we're just, the decision is simply whether the moratorium or the zoning in progress. Staff will definitely, we're going to bring back concepts, bring them to your Planning Commission, then ultimately bring it to you. Unless you wanted to provide any advancement in terms of the process in which you envision these large-scale data centers, from staff's perspective, we envision over certain levels, to be conditional uses that is going to require the full public hearing and give the public vetting. But those will be all the things that we're going to have to work through with the Planning Commission and ultimately bring to the Board of County Commissioners.
Well, I know that I think the federal government itself and the state government right now are all looking at future statutory regulations and things like that. So
Correct.
I guess it would behoove us to go ahead and start our process, but then keep a close eye on because eventually then we will have to have guidelines reference to what they end up doing. So so I understand it. Commissioner LaCastro.
Thank you. I was just going to add, I know that we've all heard from some constituents, and the word moratorium always sounds great in the press, and it's the big buzzword. Everybody, X number of counties have already initiated a moratorium, but I think we're taking a much more prudent approach and a smarter approach. And like Mr. Klatskow said, is hey, you can throw out the word moratorium and it's only temporary. What we're doing, I think, is a much more detailed approach. And just to remind, as we did at our last meeting, citizens, we haven't been approached by anybody, so it's not like we have something right on the cusp of being built, and we better scramble and approve a moratorium to stop these horrible data centers. What we're doing, I think, is taking a much smarter approach, is much more legally supportable. So although other counties have thrown out the moratorium, and in the press at times, they get cheers for it, I believe what we're doing is a much better template for other counties that might be concerned with the unknowns about a data center and whatnot. I do believe some of those counties that maybe voted quickly on a moratorium, it's possible that they had one coming right in or being requested, and so every county is different. We don't have that, so I think this is a much smarter approach. So we're obviously focused on it. We're taking it seriously, and I think this gives us many more tools at our fingertips. In a better legally supported way. Thank you.
And just for clarity too, when we're in the zoning and process, I don't keep saying process, but that it doesn't allow anybody to submit a petition while we're in that particular process.
Correct.
Correct.
They can submit. They can submit.
They can submit, but we
they
won't
don't go
consider
anywhere.
it.
This won't move. Zoning in progress action.
And related to the discussion related to the moratorium, related to the zoning in progress, and staff will understand this isn't open-ended. We know that we have, that year time frame is where we're going to put that focus, and we're going to want to bring back for your consideration amendments, whether it be growth management plan and LDC or just LDC, depending upon what the research shakes out.
Commissioner Hall.
Thank you. So just to clarify, we do have to have some kind of progress going on in this zoning in progress timeframe?
Yes, it's zoning in progress.
Okay, so in that progress, part of our progress could be defining what these hyper data centers are in lieu of just a data processing center. And part of that process could be no zoning at all?
Correct.
Okay.
What I've put on the screen is the general breakdown for the hyperscale data centers. It has a size, often it's 500,000 square feet to 1 million square feet. And then you have your enterprise data centers and your edge and regional data centers. And some of those are currently existing within Collier County. It's the hyperscale data centers that is the ones that have the greatest concern for the power consumption, the water consumption, the noise, compatibility, those factors. And those are we're going to put our focus upon. But those are we will most certainly develop concepts. And what we can do in coordination with the county manager's office, staff can take some initial drafts and just run some of these concepts, bring back to the boards the framework of what we're thinking about, just to give you an understanding of where we're likely to go, so you can provide some clear for further direction as we then bring it to the Planning Commission, then bring it back to the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you. Commissioner McDaniel.
Yes, and you brought up a point, and it doesn't need to take a year to do these definitions. It's going to take time because there is a process. The review of these definitions that you're proposing here has to be reviewed by everyone concerned. It has to go to the DSEC, it has to come to the Planning Commission, ultimately come back to the Board of County Commissioners. That time could concern 12 months, but it doesn't have to. I mean, I know it was alleged that it was going to take 12 months, but it doesn't necessarily have to.
Agreed, Commissioner.
Okay.
There's a lot of variables within that, but it doesn't have to.
Go ahead, public comment, Tom, please.
Yes, sir. Our first registered speaker is Ryan Kennedy.
Thank you, Commissioners. Ryan Kennedy, a resident here in Collier County of Ave Maria, and just wanted to echo and thank you for moving forward with putting these sensible restrictions, but also guidelines in place to protect the citizens here in Collier County. One of the things I just echo is definitely making sure that these data centers don't come in currently until these definitions are in place. Along those lines, some things to consider, food for thought, would be nothing over 10,000 square feet should not be allowed to access municipal groundwater. And those municipal water and groundwater, a lot of there's alternative cooling now. Noise ordinances, I think that's already been brought up. And then just a decommission plan, I think that's also important too, because a lot of these facilities, as things become more advanced, they can be operated on a smaller scale. There's going to be a lot of unused facilities, and they've largely are going to be used. They've been outfitted for that one particular purpose, but now, what are we going to do with them? So decommission plan, those are sorts of things that I would definitely recommend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your next registered speaker is Donna Knapp.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioners. I'm really against these data centers, and I'm glad that you're taking this seriously and not just plonking these things all over the place. I'm concerned about the water that they take. As you know, we're in a drought at the moment. We've got rivers and springs are going dry, and terrible water quality here, in fact, across the whole nation. And federal government is just ramming these things down our throats. Many folks don't want them. Some folks have actually had their properties taken, because once these data centers are built, they find that they need more energy than they initially thought they would need. And so that means building more infrastructure to supply these data centers. And a family in Georgia recently lost their generational home for more infrastructure to be built to supply these data centers. But the most important thing is that water is life. Water is our first medicine. It's where we all come from. Every cell needs water to divide, and if we don't have adequate water and we give water to these machines, we will cease to exist. Our quality of life will cease to exist. So thank you, Commissioners, so much for taking this seriously and not doing what federal government is doing across our nation and ramming these things down our throats. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was our final registered speaker.
Commissioner McDaniel.
I'd like to make a motion to continue on with the zoning in progress action that we voted on 2 weeks ago.
Second.
All right, a motion to continue and a second to continue. No other comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, same sound. Ayes have it. All right, staff, got some work.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 13A. This is a recommendation to appoint 2 commissioners as regular members, 3 commissioners as alternate members, and ratification of the appointed citizen member and an alternate citizen member for a 1-year period on the Value Adjustment Board. Mr. Derek Johnson, your Director of Clerk's Finance, is
Good
here.
morning, Commissioners.
Is here to
Derek
present.
Johnson, Finance
morning.
Director for the Clerk of Courts, here today before you as Administrator to the Value Adjustment Board. This is my annual ask for 2 commissioners to serve. Currently serving are Commissioners Hall and Saunders. Commissioner Saunders is the chairman. And I would also like to have the other 3 commissioners as alternates.
So that, you're talking 5 then.
Pardon?
You're talking all 5 of us.
Right, you got us all
2
right
primary.
I hear you. Any one of us that haven't served on this yet in our lifetime, raise their right hand.
I have no problem serving again.
I have no problem also either serving as.
You guys want to switch like we did last time? Like one take primary, one take the.
Either way.
All right, whatever. You guys work out amongst yourselves. Commissioner McDaniel, do you have an actual comment?
Well, but I don't know if it's an actual comment or not. Who is on the Value Adjustment Board now?
So we have
Saunders.
Commissioner Saunders.
Okay.
I did it my
Mr.
first
Hall.
2 years on
Yes.
this.
And I've been pleased to avoid it for 9 years, so.
So
If that's a motion to appoint Bill McDaniel, then I'll make that motion.
Yeah. And I'll do it if you want, if I'll do it.
If you
but
want to do it.
If you two.
You want to do it?
No.
I have no problem doing it.
All right, well, they both said they don't have a problem continuing in the
Okay.
capacity they're in now.
I'll make that motion.
But then the rest of us are going to be alternates regardless, so.
Yes, sir. I also need to know who will serve as chair.
That's,
No, I like the, I mean, I like the idea of swapping if they do. I mean, I'm just talking out loud. We've been trying to sort of like spread the wealth a little bit, you know.
Who was the
Commissioner Hall
chair
might have a
last-
different
who was the chair
perspective.
this year?
I was.
You know.
I'll chair if I need to.
all right.
Thank you, sir.
So we make a motion, Commissioner Hall be the chair. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion, a second.
I talked with Mrs. Hall a few minutes ago, and she said she would love for her husband to be the chair.
Yeah, I did talk to her about that. She has no problem.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, same sign.
Great. Thank you,
Welcome,
Commissioners.
Chairman. And Commissioner Saunders will continue in the secondary role, I guess. Do we have to vote on that, or are we good?
No.
I think we're good.
All right. Thank you.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 15. Item 15A is public comments on general topics not on the current or future agenda by individuals not already heard during previous public comments in this meeting.
We do have one registered speaker, Sergey Kelly.
Either one, sir. I don't know if you were here earlier. Were you here earlier?
Yeah, but I missed the deadline to sign up. I was like a few minutes behind.
I just want to give you a heads up. If you're here to speak about the project out east, reference to the racetrack or that development or anything like that, we're not hearing that in public comment because that's actually going to be an agenda item in the future. And just by statutory reasons and how we run and operate, if that's what you're going to talk about, we'll be happy to invite you back when that's actually on the agenda.
Oh, wait, no, I'll talk about something else.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
You just state your name and.
Gotcha. So, Sergey Kelly, and I do want to bring up concerns, at least with general developments that have impeded the Florida Panther. There is a alleged item that could be up to the next meeting. I think at any meeting it should be talked about in general. We've had the rural lands developments, we've had the Corkscrew Grove villages, we've had these massive chunks of land that really, if we think about it, if we keep doing that for the next 10, 20 years, it will be the functional extinction of the Florida Panther. And there's not really anything else that's really leading to its death that's the majority of the problem besides development. And I don't think Collier County Commission or the commissioners would want to be remembered for that, leading the Panther to its grave, essentially. It was almost brought there in the late 90s. Obviously, that was a whole other set of issues. But I think when we're looking at these developments and these massive developments, especially we had that one with Ave Maria. I do want to thank Commissioner Chris Hall for voting against that, because that was another expansion into Panther habitat. Also found it ironic that Ave Maria would be pushing that if they actually value creation and what God has given, especially with the southwest corner of Florida. It is the last stronghold of the Florida Panther. Yes, you can make cases. There's a northern corridor. It can move a bit up towards the Panhandle. It's not been demonstrated as a massive population that it could continue moving the species forward if it goes extinct in the county or southwest Florida. So with any allegedly proposed or upcoming agenda items around development in the Everglades next to Big Cypress, the Panther Refuge, it shouldn't just be we can't mitigate the Panther into preservation, nor can we keep conserving land if we keep developing it. So sometimes developers, and I'd say more increasingly, need to be told, no, there are areas that are the other side of the urban boundary that can be developed. That's certainly not a problem. We've had a history here in Collier County where we see the Panther, it's already been 15 or 12 or so hit by cars, and that's directly from development. That's not just bad drivers, as we know exist in Florida. That is from more roads, more development. And whatever we do in sites near Big Cypress, the Panther National Refuge, all these big preserves, we can't keep adding developments on the borders of those or even inside them pretty much if we expect the Florida Panther, also like the indigo snake, the Florida black bear, all these species to continue to exist. So I would urge you, when these developments come forward, when there are obviously, I'm sure you're being courted by many of them, to push against them and let them know that if we want Collier County Commission to preserve not just the history of the county, but also the species that have lived here and the people that have grown to love the Panther and all of that, to preserve it. And hopefully we don't see a massive development parcel of 543 acres being developed by Big Cypress. It would be another blow to what is pretty much the Panther that's hanging on by a thread at this point. It is not a good sight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That is all for speakers for today.
All right, thank you, Tom. County Manager.
Yes, sir. We have no staff project updates. That brings us to item 15C, Staff and Commission General Communications. Just a reminder that we do have our joint workshop with the City of Marco Island coming up at the end of August. That's Thursday, August 27th from 1 o'clock to 4 down on Marco. And we'll be reaching out to you to talk with you about any topics that you might like to see on that agenda here in the next few weeks. With that is all I have. County Attorney.
Nothing, thank you.
Commissioners.
Commissioner Saunders.
Just one kind of a quick comment. In the past, we've talked about skipping a meeting here and there to give staff some breathing room. That's sort of been the history going back several years ago. We stopped doing that, and I think for good reason. We have a lot of business in the summertime. However, we've had numerous really short agendas. Most of the agenda has been the consent agenda. And I just want to throw out the possibility of not having the first meeting in August, give staff a little bit of a break. School starts about that time. So just a thought, because they're pretty much prepared for one meeting. When that meeting's had, they're preparing for the next meeting. It'll give staff some time to deal with some of the issues that we've asked them to deal with. And it looks like I think I talked to the manager yesterday. We don't have much of an agenda shaping up for the next meeting. So just a thought.
Good thought. I like it.
If I may, sir, the only, and I have something here that I can read if we are thinking of taking the August 11th meeting off. We do have a contract. I talked to each of you about that. We were actually looking to see if we could bring this. This is our transit drivers. We were thinking if we could bring that onto the agenda. It's currently scheduled for August 11th, the award of the Collier Area Transit Operations Management Services contract. It can be approved in absentia, which is how we handle items if the board does choose to take a meeting off, and ratified at the August 25th meeting. We do start this would allow us to start the process for budget amendments as well as the vendor to begin their transition process. The existing vendor's representatives recently sent concerns to the county on July 21st regarding the solicitation process, which staff and the county attorney's office are reviewing and will address in the meantime. So we have a method to address the transit contract should the board elect to take the August 11th meeting off. We'll handle that as an absentia meeting and then move on to the 25th.
Are there other items of importance on that agenda at this point?
No, sir. Nothing that
Again,
can't go to the 25th.
just a thought.
Okay. Commissioner McDaniel, you got a comment in reference to that?
And if we choose to not have the August meeting, I'm fine, but I would also, on that note, I would like to give some consideration to moving away from the contentious land use items to be heard only in the wintertime. I think that would that would allow us to be more efficient with how we're conducting our business. Back in the old days when we weren't here all summer long, they pushed those items off, but we are here all year long, and certainly also the other thought process. I mean, who would have thought that 5 years ago I didn't even hear of Zoom. I didn't know that Zoom existed, and so now constituents have an opportunity to speak from whatever part of the planet, except for wherever you're going in the first part of August, but folks can speak to us from any part of the planet and express their opinions, and I certainly give as much credence to folks that call in through Zoom or on the telephone as I do showing up here to the podium for 3 minutes. So I'm totally fine with taking that first meeting off if that's the wish of the board, but I would like for us to not delay these land use items, let them come through the system on an as-needed basis.
Right, then I'll make a motion that we not have the first meeting in August. And we already, I think we just heard one of the major land use issues just a couple weeks ago. So I mean, we are hearing land use issues in the summertime. So I think that policy is long gone.
It's not long.
Or it should
Excuse me. Forgive me. The weeds are talking, and there's a lot of there are a lot of things that are queued up for September and October that could be coming forward that aren't. And so, just from a policy standpoint, I would like for them to just be coming through when they're ready. So, but I'll second your motion for August, the first meeting in August.
Good. Well, I think I get it. You know, we have this modern technology and people zooming in. We saw today that we had, in the last several meetings, we had several people that, you know, get gummed up. They can't figure out how to get on or uncue herself, or, you know, and their voice isn't heard. You know, and we know historically that our particular county and the city of Naples, and especially my district, 30% of the people aren't here in the summer. You know, they're back up north or whatever they're doing, but they are property owners and they do have an opinion, and they live here 6 months and a day out of their life, so they are residents and they do pay their taxes. And I don't mind having 120 speakers come in on a controversial. Makes me feel like I earned my money that day sitting here till 10, 11 o'clock at night. But you know, I don't have a problem with that, and I think it's a good practice. You know, I know we did hear the particular project, the rent-to-own one. That was our last meeting, so it's not like we're not hearing them in the summer, but we did. And, you know, I kind of, but the other two meetings, we were out of here, one by court reporter break and one by lunch. So, you know, if we're fighting that hard to fill the agenda, then, you know, maybe it is time to let staff take care of some business. I know they're still going to work. It's not like they're not going to work, but, you know, I'm okay with the first meeting in August. Commissioner Castro.
Yeah, I'm okay with the first meeting in August, but I'll just, you know, preface it by saying sometimes a short meeting doesn't mean it wasn't an important one. We've had meetings where we've been out of here in 2 hours, but we voted on one really big thing. So I don't look at it as the timing of the meeting. You know, we've had meetings where we've been in here, you know, till midnight, and I don't know that the value was really there, but you know, when you sort of weigh it all. But so I guess I would say if anything popped up that you thought was of the weight that it needed to be time sensitive, obviously you would chime in. But yeah, I'm okay. I think that it makes sense. And we talked about that even when we said we'd meet over the summer. We always said that the county manager would keep an eye on the agenda, and if it looked like one that wasn't time sensitive or whatnot, give them that time back to the staff, and everybody else involved would be smart. So.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't insinuating that the meetings that were short weren't important. I just figured I was such an efficient chairman. We got
that's
that quick, you know. That's what I was saying. But
Oh, and then there's that.
there's that. So, well, since we have a motion and
I'll second it.
second on the taking the August 11th meeting off, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, same sign. All right, everybody gets a little extended
Just
vacation.
one other comment on that. If there's an emergency, the manager can always call an emergency
yeah.
meeting.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
so we're here.
For sure.
We can
All
zoom
right.
in.
All right, I guess Commissioner Hall, you have any comments?
No comments. Great day.
Closing
Thanks.
comment. Commissioner LaCastro.
No, I have nothing. Thank you.
Commissioner McDaniel.
I have a thought. One of the notion came across to me a while ago, more specifically when Mr. Bosey came up and I asked him point blank if these hyperscale data centers could be permitted here in our community, and he said technically yes. If a good lawyer got a hold of it, they could argue that the SIC codes that we have that are 40 years old could be utilized to permit one of those. And so one of the thoughts that I would like to suggest, and I talked to the county manager about this yesterday, was somebody in our staff, and I'm pointing back in that direction, bring into AI our entire GMP, growth management plan, our entire LDC and Florida statutes, and look for anomalies and inconsistencies. I'm regularly hearing about aged codes, our laws, our regulations that are out of statutory conformity. And so I was thinking maybe we could utilize AI to help strengthen what we already have in fact going on, to look for those anomalies necessarily or inconsistencies, so we're not caught short-handed. We heard several years ago, we heard an issue on cell towers and how we were using a land development code that was 30 years old and wasn't ever contemplating the cell providers having multiple towers and so on and so forth. And again, so my thoughts are, we have this tool that's out there. Why don't we give some direction to have that monitored and bring back some, if I want to call it low-hanging fruit, but bring back some suggestions for modifications to what we have going on.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Be better to know it than not know it.
Yeah, I feel
Amen.
the same way. Commissioner LaCastro.
I just had one follow-up. Ms. Patterson, when's the meeting with the City of Naples, that workshop? Do we have that set yet?
We don't have
We
a
still
date
don't
yet.
have
The City of Naples asked if we would be willing to meet further into the fall due to everything that was going on with property tax reform and such. So I'm keeping in touch with the city manager, and we'll get that one
How
scheduled.
about Lee County? Remember, we sort of tossed that around. Did that ever come to fruition?
Same thing with Lee County.
Okay.
County Manager Harner and I discussed, other than potentially some, if we're looking at a more active hurricane season, is getting our arms around some of this legislation and then scheduling that joint meeting. So I've been in touch with all
Okay.
of them. Yep.
I mean, as Amy already knows, the one for Marco, I mean, Marco Island's in my district, much like the City of Naples is in Commissioner Kowal's district. One of the things I've already said to her, and I appreciate everybody's input, but I'm really going to take the lead on having the staff be prepared, because as we've discussed, I really want us to go into the meeting proactively. I know a lot of the hot issues. I mean, it's not rocket science. I mean, you've got some people on Marco Island that say the county, they screw us over on taxation. You know, they take more money than we give them, and more money should be coming back. And what I don't want to have is a workshop where the city council all gets on the microphone and gives us a whole bunch of homework assignments, and we say we're going to go back. So one of the things that I've talked with Amy about, and the staff is, Chris and I talked about it from a budget perspective, having some presentations already queued up that could be shared with all of us in advance. So we're going into that knowing the hot issues. We're obviously open to any things that maybe we don't know about, but I already know 5 things that they're going to want to sort of hit us with and say, hey, we're really stepping up from Marco Island, but this isn't an I gotcha meeting kind of thing, and there's quite a few things before they speak I would like our subject matter experts to present on that we already know are issues, and I'm sure when we meet with the City of Naples, Commissioner Cole is going to have the same thing, big hot topics that we want to be proactive on, and not drive down to Marco Island and sit in the principal's office and be told all the things that they're unhappy with, and then we'll get back to them. We're not going to do that because we already know the topics, and some of them are definitely worth talking about, and maybe there's a new way of looking at things. Others are sort of a little bit of social media misinformation on quite a few things, or things that are regulated by the state, and so it's not like we're guessing on quite a few things, or we're not investing in Marco, and I'm sure the same goes for the City of Naples. But you said that's the end of August, right?
Yes, sir, it is. And
Okay.
I actually have some of the topics already that
Yeah.
I'll be sharing with you, and then I'll gather your input, and we'll work with them on the format.
Great. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. If I may, Chair, before you go, I do know you have some.
We're not going for a while. These 2 guys are lit up yet.
I'm sorry. Before it slips my mind again, I know there's some problems with the chairs up there on the dais.
Yeah,
so
we're sinking
yes,
every
sir.
second.
Yes, sir. So we'll be addressing that.
Talking about chairs, it took about 6 years to get these chairs.
Yes.
When we first complained about them. So I probably won't be around to see the new chairs.
Well, I'm gonna bring some 2x4s and cut them the length.
The thing is, they're not subtle now. They used to be sort of subtle. You sort of felt all of a sudden
I know,
a
you
little.
just start
No,
going.
I can feel myself actually being lowered.
Yes, sir. I think we've swapped out as many as we have, so I'll see if I can beat that 6-year record and do something about your chairs.
Commissioner McDaniel.
And I neglected to give you a little update. As you know, I'm chair of the RPC, the Regional Southwest Florida Regional Planning Council. We're doing okay over there. I got a report last week or the week before. The longevity of that organization is now good through next September, and it's coming along. It's coming along as well as it can. So there's your update.
Commissioner Hall.
Great, thanks. What did we resolve about the negotiation on the Vanderbilt extension lots? We're going to try to do things differently. We talked about it, but
Commissioners, my understanding was we were going to bring back a couple of them and give you a presentation
Okay.
on that, so that we could talk about what we can do and what we can't do.
okay, good.
Yep.
I
Yes,
just
sir.
didn't have that in my head.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, my turn, I guess, right? We got through everybody? I just wanted to talk a little bit about one of our oldest attractions here in Collier County. It's been here for many, 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 many years, probably even longer than Commissioner Saunders. The Naples Zoo. Because I don't get a chance, we're not allowed to talk to each other than up here, but I've had a couple meetings with the zoo, with the president and CEO, and we're coming up on a negotiation for lease again. A lot of people probably don't even know the zoo don't own their own property. They rent it from the county at this point. I think probably 50, 60 years ago, some family at some point donated it to the county. It was owned by somebody at one point, but then somehow the county ended up in its possession. So
Yes, sir.
ever
We
since then,
taxed ourselves to, there was a voter referendum to tax ourselves to purchase the zoo when the family that owned it basically said that they wanted to sell it and rather have it to be developed. The county, voters of the
we
county.
preserved it. We saved it by
Yes.
buying it
Yes,
and
sir.
not being developed.
Yes,
so
sir.
then it continued on into what it is today. And just a quick reference, I mean, since 2015, the zoo's had philanthropic fundraisings and monies, and they've raised over $27 million to $30 million, and they did about $27 million in capital improvements. I don't know if you've been there lately. They got a whole new entrance, a whole new exhibits. They got orangutans there now. I mean, they're amazing. But their problem is when they went and we talked about it. And when like Hurricane Ian and Irma was the first one, and Ian, they really struck them hard. We don't think about it, but in reality is that they're shut down. They're self-sufficient. Their fees pay their salaries, pay for food, pay for things like that, other than some of the capital improvements where they worked with philanthropic organizations. And I think we partnered on the parking lot at one point as the leaseholder. But what happened was, they were shut down for 6 months after a major hurricane or a major storm like that. The animals still need to be fed. They still need to be taken care of. The staff still has to work behind the scenes, but they're not open to the public. So they lose that income to support these type of things. So what they're seeking to do now is bring these families that have been very generous to the zoo. They want to create an endowment. But the families, of course, anybody who wants to invest $50 million or whatever the price tag is to have an endowment set aside so when these type of things happen, that they can still feed the animals, still take care of them, have their staff working behind the scenes. When these kind of issues come up, having a lease, having a contract they have to renew all the time, they're kind of wanting to lean towards maybe us talking, having a discussion if it would more be like a deeded thing to the zoo, deed the property but with the same exact provisions with heavy clawback for us to be able to bring it back to the county if something ever happened that we felt was not, in line. And they said basically the same exact things they provide to the county now, free days, kids programs, the school programs, everything still be intact, but this would help them because people would feel more confident in giving that large amount of money to the endowment to keep the zoo operating in times of stress or need. So just giving you a heads up that this is a conversation.
There's an out clause in the lease that causes particular concern because we could, for any reason or no reason, ask them to vacate the property. I think maybe 180 days. I'm not exactly sure, but that out clause is what, and then the renewal of the leases has caused some challenges with their donors. And this is something that we've dealt with other properties, hence the reason that we have 99-year leases and some of these other longer provisions to allow the operators to court donors without the concern that the county could come back quickly and reverse out on a lease.
Commissioner LaCastro.
Did you have something about the zoo? Yes. Okay, why don't you
Oh,
go first? Because
go ahead.
talking about the
Well,
zoo.
the only thing I would suggest, I would suggest.
Get to the microphone.
Yeah, the only thing I would suggest is that maybe you bring forward an actual item so we can have some discourse with regard to it. Maybe a simple answer is the elimination of the out clause with some heavy clawback similar to what you were suggesting. So we had, I would rather not do something like, because I remember when the taxpayers voted to tax themselves to support the zoo, to acquire that land. And I just want to make sure that the proper protections are in place. So a little more formal discussion with regard to specifics. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I'm just putting this out in the sunshine
sure.
because I think it's something we're going to have a deep dive on, here in the future. So because I don't have the opportunity to speak to you guys, and the zoo's in my district, so they reached out to me, of course. So, but I would encourage you all to go visit it, though. But it's pretty cool, very, very, very nice, especially you, Commissioner McDaniel. Commissioner Castro, you had a comment.
No,
on
just when you talked about the zoo, it made me think about Cars on Fifth, and so I just say briefly, I think Tom, who's in charge of Cars on Fifth, has met with all commissioners, but more importantly, we've got key people on the staff that have met with him as well. I originally had the initial conversation with Tom just when I was reading that the city of Naples had some issues with it growing and being able to support it. Commissioner Colwell's obviously had a lot of conversations, probably not only with the city but especially with Tom, and now we all have. And the note I'm about to send, and it really probably represents all of our positions, and anybody can correspond with Tom, but there was a big group note that had a whole bunch of people on it. And what I basically said is, hey, we have key people on the county staff, Jamie French, Jamie Cook, Mike McNeese, who are in conversations. And my position initially just talking to Tom, maybe out of curiosity, was I can't speak for the city, so if they have issues with it, I support their senior leadership saying, hey, this isn't something that we think we can go forward on unless you make these big aggressive changes. But the reason I reached out to him quickly was I didn't want him to sort of just move it to another county and say, well, we didn't hear from anybody, to include Collier County. So I wanted to be proactive and say, we have some locations that may or may not fit what you want to do. And if they don't fit, then, I can see where it's Fifth Avenue or nothing. But I didn't think it was Fifth Avenue or nothing. And I think now the feedback I got is since he's met with all 5 commissioners just to pick all of our brains, we all sort of feel the same. To separate rumor from fact, there again, a lot of stuff on social media saying, oh, these stupid commissioners, why don't they just give him the keys to the sports complex or the keys to Coastland Mall and he can park all of his cars. As all the commissioners know here, that organization isn't looking for just a big parking lot. They're not looking for a big fairground. They're looking for a venue that's similar to Fifth Avenue that creates an experience. And we have a few possibilities in the county that are being fleshed out. So I think, what will happen here in short order is they'll be presented to him. But the other misinformation thing on social media is we can't tell these guys where to have their private event. So we can only present the options, what the cost would be and what the logistical lift would be. But it's up to them. There's been all kinds of comments that say, I can't believe the county hasn't told them to use this location or that location. And of course, it doesn't work that way. So we've presented things to him and his team. And if he feels that it's a good backup plan and it would keep it, within the footprint of Naples, great. And if not, then that's his decision to make. We can't tell him, where to have it. But I I really appreciate, especially the county staff, the key people, how quickly they mobilized to be able to assess different locations and provide the pros and the cons. And some of the locations that everybody thought were like no-brainers fell out very quickly when, the logistics of that location, it had a lot of parking spots, but it didn't have a lot of other support. And so I think, we're zeroing in on maybe 1 or 2 possible locations for him to consider, or he might consider to bring it, elsewhere. So I think in the next week or so, we'll start to hear either yay or nay, and then we'll move forward.
Yes, sir. We did receive some correspondence, and Mr. Finn and Mr. McNeese will be corresponding back and gathering some more information.
Yeah, thanks for all that. So.
Of course.
I mean, we obviously love to keep it here. It's a great event for 20 plus years. Like, what made me think of that is when you said how long the zoo's been here and how much, people don't really know the moving parts of it. So many people don't know the moving parts on Cars on Fifth. They just see it happen. They love it. It charity benefits, and there's a lot of goodness. Businesses benefit, but it's a private event supported by the city of Naples for many, many years, and now they're looking for maybe another location because Fifth Avenue might not be a viable location anymore. So. County staff's actually done a lot behind the scenes to flesh out some things and give this organization some Collier County options. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Appear to have any more comments from my fellow colleagues up here. This is going to adjourn this meeting for today. Thank you.